100%. I have a firm belief that if you are actually a good leader that cares about your workers, as well as, of course, you want to make your business grow and you want to have your clients show up and be productive all the time, right? Like, you have to care about whatever it is that's stressing your employees or your clients' life, right? Because if
Mhm.
they're constantly thinking about food or dieting or exercising, they're unhappy with their health or their weight, or like you said, like their relationships aren't working, or
Mhm.
their career isn't working, they're not happy in any way, shape, or form, like they're not going to show up. Like you can do whatever, you can give them whatever bonus, you can, give them whatever challenge, but if their personal needs are not met, it's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like they're never going to have success. So yeah, so often other coaches or executives of companies will hire me to be able to add that support for their clients so that they can have
Mhm.
those needs met. They don't have to worry about that stuff anymore, right? And then their
Mhm.
clients start to show up and they're at peace. They have coaching on their own end to be able to show up at work and to like feel ready to go and to be able to take charge of and take responsibility for whatever job that they're up to, because now their mind is clear, they're present, and they're just ready to go, they're able to work.
Yeah, I like to call it their secret weapon. That's what I call it. Like your health, your body, it's actually your secret weapon to prosper. So now I know one other thing, which I think is the main, the premise or the core, to the core of all of this is mindset. And I want you to talk a little bit about that, like why and how is mindset so important when it comes to, I know we're talking about weight loss, but we're talking about health and in the workplace and performance, all of that.
Yeah, neuroscientists right now are studying big time about how the brain is working and the trained mind versus the untrained mind. So they've done EEG studies on monks that meditate, right? And they have them go in and they meditate, and they say, they said to them like, meditate on compassion. And they would scan their brains and they would watch them, and as they focused and meditated on compassion, like their brain activity was staying right in the frontal lobe, which
Mm.
limbic system, which is in charge of emotions and in charge of happiness. Okay. And then they also put in the EEG, to look at the brain waves from someone who was not meditating. And they said, don't do anything. They just put them under there. Right. And the brain
Mm.
activity was like bing, 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 like bouncing all around super fast, all in the back
Wow.
of the brain. Right. And there's only three
Mhm.
things that the brain can actually think about when it's untrained, which is just how does the body feel? Right? Do I have a stomach ache? Am I tired? Right? How does the environment feel? It's cold in here, it's hot in here, and time, right? I have to be there at that time. I have to do this at that time. You literally don't think about anything else in your conscious brain all day, but it's what we obsess about. Okay. But what actually is where it's gonna make a difference is actually, I used to think that I was the smartest person in the world because of how much I could think. I was like, oh, I could analyze anything so much for like and come up with an answer and a solution. And then one day I realized that no, actually, I have the weakest brain in the world because I have not trained it to stay in the present moment and to slow down. This is
Yeah.
why I have
Mhm.
sleeping issues. This is why things aren't working, right? So, absolutely, like it's about training the brain to stay in the present moment, and then you can make better decisions. You're, quicker to act. You can sleep better. Like you're just going to show up better and better. The other thing about the mind is that it will focus on the negative like 9 times more likely than it will focus on the positive if you're
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
training it to focus on. So with the hypnosis, that's one of the many tools that I give my clients that is super effective in training the brain to actually focus on the positive rather than constantly thinking about the negative. So even if you have an employee or something like that, or a client, and they're showing up and whatever, but they don't actually see that they're succeeding, they don't see their wins, they don't have that growth mindset, then they're going to continue believing that they're a failure, and then they're going to continue engaging in actions like maybe stress eating or getting into fights with their family or whatever, because they're stressed out, because they're believing a thought that they're a failure, right? That's just one example. So it's like we literally have to train the brain to get into the habit of staying, focused on the good and the positive and what you are doing good at and all of that kind of stuff, so that you can continue feeling motivated to show up every day and keep doing what it is that you say that you want to do.
Yeah, and I think that is so critical because this is what you just said. This is about emotional support. So it's not about just getting help to get habits as far as eating well and losing weight. This is a deeper issue. It's having somebody on your side who's there, who loves you and cares about you, who's nurturing you and teaching, right? We're teaching them how to love themselves, how to be empathetic, even sympathetic, so that they can even live a more fulfilled life, work life balance, right? So I think that's a really important point that you bring up because I think that so many people think it's just about lose weight and eat right. And that's exactly why they're not fulfilled. That's exactly why these mental negative mental stories that we play in our heads. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. Absolutely. It's about way more than that. And like I said, and I think another powerful part is like it's somebody that also understands exactly where you're at.
Yeah.
I walk my talk, you know what I mean? And I
Hmm.
think just having somebody on your side that really understands where it is that you've been and is like, hey, come on, it's going to be okay. Like, I know how hard it is, but I'm telling you, this is actually possible. Like I've worked with hundreds of clients. They've all gotten over their food obsessions. They still message me today and they're thanking me, for, freeing them from something they never thought that they could have. So yeah, just knowing that it's totally possible and that anything can happen. But yeah, it's about so much more than the food. Like, like I said with my story, it was like I can't do one more diet again, and why is that? It's like because some people
Hmm.
need something way deeper than that. Yeah, and it starts with taking action and asking for help and just saying like, I don't know, something's got to change because I'm at the bottom of my rope, I'm at the end of my rope. um yeah, and that's where we come in.